Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm. Wait for it. The Amazon FBA and eCommerce podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
What the hell is Clubhouse? And if you don't know what Clubhouse is, or if you think you know what Clubhouse is, this is the episode to watch. We have got, as our guest today, a really cool guy. I've got to know him a little bit over the last year, but started out as a naturopathic physician in Canada. Just lives a stone throw away from me. Well, a couple cities over. But anyways, in Canada, that's a stone's throw. And he later branched out into nutraceuticals as an executive management consultant for fitness and wellness organizations, which led him into Amazon back in 2017. And he became not just a seller, but a multi-million-dollar seller, which, you know, I think that's important. When you jump into Amazon and you can do that within a couple of years, I mean, that's fantastic. But also, the reason that I wanted to get our guest on was because he has a powerhouse Amazon mastermind on Clubhouse. And we're going to show you what he's doing differently, and how he achieved it. But today's guest is Dr. Rana Singh. We're going to get to him in a second. But before we do that, just have an announcement. Before we get started, we have a big thank you going out to our first official sponsor, Global Wired Advisors. They're a leading digital investment bank focused on optimizing the business scale process. So for more information, visit globalwiredadvisors.com. Now, I want to hit something straight on. There's a couple of changes that you're going to be seeing in our podcast. We started out having a cigar on my balcony almost a year to the day, and just came out of the blue. Like, just, it wasn't even a podcast. We were talking about just creating some YouTube content, and I was 100% opposed because I was way too busy. But anyways, Kelsey kind of talked me into it. My other son talked me into it. And then Danny McMillan talked me, well, didn't talk me into it. He just kind of gave me the, hey, let's do it. Because believe it, like, I am scared. I won't say the word, but very nervous about talking live. It takes a lot every time I get into the mic to, just feel comfortable. But anyways, this podcast started out with just really me and Kelsey just doing a few things, talking to some friends and getting them on the podcast. This has expanded out to 4 full-time people. And as of today, if Kelsey did his job, a 5th person. So, Kelsey only makes so much money, and he's getting tired of paying for all these people out of his pocket. So we had to look at the sponsor route, and we also are changing something over. We're talking about value. Free podcast Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. That's great. We provide lots of content. We provide, continuous content on social media, written and researched articles that we provide. But what could we do that would be added value? And what could we do if somebody wanted just to say, hey, thanks, Kelsey, let's buy you a coffee, right up to people that wanted to learn more at an affordable price with 10 times value. So we did launch Patreon. It's brand new. It just happened to be at the same time as the sponsorship. So what is this Patreon? We just launched the site. There will be a lot of changes over the period of time. But I think it ranges from $3 or $4 a month for, basically buying Kelsey a coffee, $30 and $75. And what does that entail? We've got really great people who you've seen on these podcasts that want to offer a bit more, that they'll have trainings, that they'll come on and do different than on the podcast, specific training with action steps and a PDF to follow, SOPs, which we don't provide, but we will. It will be like a SOP. If somebody in the Patreon group wants a specific one, we'll take one of them and create that into an SOP that month. Also training, Ask Me Anythings, other types of trainings, other types of giveaways, the Platinum Wheel of Kelsey, which, hey, look, if you guys have listened to the podcast, one of the things that we did kind of differently was provide a giveaway. And some of these giveaways have been like $99 up to $10,000 in different types of giveaways. Those types of giveaways will also be done to those gold and platinum members over with us. And there's also all these other types of values. So I wanted to talk to you guys about that today, just because I don't want you to think that you have to pay anything to listen to this podcast. The grassroots on this podcast is giving you information, bringing you interesting people in the Ecom and Amazon world to help you build your business and become better sellers. And you can do that just by listening to the podcast. If you wanted to go one extra step, no problem whatsoever. I mean, the Facebook group is absolutely free. You can join there and we can answer as many questions as you want there, and we try to do that as quick as possible. But we've also got really incredible people in the group that answer them way before I can even look at them. So anyways, I just wanted to say that, Kelsey, where are you?
Making me tear up a little bit. That was beautiful.
You were supposed to be the one saying it and not me. You just didn't do your job. So anyways, why don't you do your job now and just and then we can get right into this.
Yeah, well, you get what you pay for. So this is the Lunch with Norm podcast, and we really appreciate everyone joining us. You're interrupting me now. Go ahead.
I am, but it's for a good reason. Swag bags. Patreon swag bags.
Yes, we have the Patreon swag bags happening. So there's a bunch of stuff. I don't want to dive too much into it, but I do want to give a shout out to some of our Patreon supporters that have already signed up, which is awesome. So we have Daniel Souza, Brian Marler, Simon Kuntz, Simon Booth, and Mark Kuntz.
Yeah, say the name right, would you?
So we really appreciate it. But yes, let's move into the show. So smash those like buttons. Head over to our YouTube page if you're looking for full episodes or any short clips. All of them are over there. That's just Norman Farrar. And join our Facebook group if you're looking to join the community, our Beard Nation. That's the Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA, and eCommerce Collective. And we do have a giveaway today, so we can jump into that a little later. But yeah.
All right. Very good. So questions, throw them in the comment section. So sit back, relax, grab that cup of coffee, enjoy the podcast. Welcome, sir.
How you doing, Norm?
See, I'm like a server at a restaurant, right? They come up to my table and I'm stuffing my face with bread. So how's it going?
Fantastic. It's great to be here. It's kind of surreal, actually.
You know, it's interesting. Your name has come up more and more and more throughout Amazon. And it's, you know, you give to get. And you're one of these guys that do that. But like, before I get into all of that, you want to just tell everybody a little bit more about you. I know I told a little bit about you, but you know,
sure.
Who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm just a guy. Just a guy. So I was born and raised here in Canada, just outside of Toronto. Actually in Brantford, Ontario. Grew up there between Brantford, Ontario and Cambridge, Ontario.
Where?
And Brantford is actually...
No, I know Brantford, but where...
Home of Gretzky.
Yeah. So you grew up in Brantford?
In Brantford, between Brantford and Cambridge. So up until 7th grade in Brantford, and then high school in Cambridge, Ontario.
Oh, man. We were almost neighbors. I grew up in Kitchener.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah. So then I actually went to the University of Waterloo. So I spent a lot of time in the KW area.
That's crazy because we ended up moving from Kitchener to Waterloo. Yeah, that's great.
That's awesome.
Man, okay, I'll just say one word or two words, and either you'll acknowledge it or not, and then I'll know what kind of guy you are. Bomb shelter.
Oh, every Wednesday night. Every Wednesday night was at the bomb shelter.
All right. Good.
That's awesome. I can't believe you brought that up. That kills me. That's so amazing.
Just checking.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Same wavelength.
So you're from Brantford, and then, like, how did you get into Amazon?
So I did a science degree at the University of Waterloo, and I've always had a passion and interest in health and personal development and high performance as a human, right? And so my girlfriend at the time was into chiropractic. She wanted to go to chiropractic college, and at the time I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was in the career center at the University of Waterloo, looking at some stuff. I actually pulled out a chiropractic brochure, and this little tiny pamphlet fell out onto the floor, right? And I picked it up, and it said naturopathic medicine. I was like, what is this, right? And it talked about, a different approach to healing, wellness, and, just a different approach to medicine using natural things like, nutritional supplements, herbal medicines, acupuncture. It was kind of like the jack of all trades. So that was, my kind of aha moment. I was like, this is kind of what I'm interested in. I didn't know it existed in this package called naturopathic medicine. So I ended up applying. I applied to Teachers College in naturopathic medicine, and got into the college, which was in Toronto. So moved to Toronto, and that was a 4-year full-time degree. Loved it. It was great. And started practicing. And then I realized, that I was trading time for money. Mm-hmm. Right. And so that was an aha moment for me. And even though I loved what I did and the knowledge that I got, and I met my wife there as well. So, it was a life-changing journey, even though I don't necessarily practice it, as a business today. And so I kind of switched gears, got into more of the corporate world, started consulting for nutritional supplement companies. I ended up joining a health and wellness company that manages fitness and wellness centers across Canada as an executive in that company. Again, kind of chasing the dollar, like it was a good salary, but took away from my family, working 12-hour days. I was never home for dinner with my family, working weekends. So it was just a lot of, it was sucking me dry. And a good friend of mine, who's actually my best man, who I met at the naturopathic college, he had started up a nutritional supplement company called Cananda, and they work with hemp oils, and so he was kind of the mastermind behind that. And I said, you know what? I've been researching and looking, kind of on the side into Amazon and how it worked, and watching YouTube videos, and I said, and he was all brick and mortar at the time. Right. And I said, let me kind of figure something out for Amazon. So that's when I kind of dove in as a side hustle to my job. And that slowly grew and grew and grew. And I just kept learning more and more and more. Basically learned everything I know on Facebook, in the Facebook groups. I didn't take a course. It was just all immersing myself with people who knew what they were doing and asking the right questions. So that's how I learned. And I started in 2017, just kind of tinkering. In 2018, there was a restructuring happening, with the job that I was with. So it was a great opportunity to kind of exit there and go full on into the Amazon world. And, it's 2021, and we're approaching 2 million in revenue just on that company for Cananda. And now I'm branching out into helping other companies and doing partnerships with other health and wellness companies, mostly here in Canada, to take them, to help increase their Amazon presence. Like a lot of them either weren't on Amazon, or they were, but didn't know quite what they were doing, because it's a very different beast out there. So,
right.
So that's how I got here.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Now I'm just kind of curious. So you're doing roughly 2 million in revenue on your own, or do you have some VAs?
No, see, that's the one thing I got to, it's 100% me. I don't have a single VA, which is crazy. And so
Why?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Oh, so man, you got to call me afterwards. I mean,
okay.
If you're over here, I'd reach across and just give you a little slap in the head. I mean, 2 million in revenue. Come on. All right. Yeah. So now we'll talk about the VAs later, but it would, oh my gosh, you would be able to get so many more hours back in your day.
Exactly. Yeah.
But Anyways, let's
Ready
talk
for that.
about the other Clubhouse now. So
Right.
Clubhouse, let's explain it. For those people that aren't listening, very short, brief summary about what Clubhouse is all about.
Sure. It's an audio only app where, people from all around the world are coming together to have conversations. And that's what it's all about, is these live interactive conversations. I kind of describe it as Facebook groups on steroids because of the live and interactive feature. And basically any topic under the sun, there's always rooms going on every day on any topic with all sorts of different experts and non-experts, right? Just people talking, and that's the beauty of Clubhouse. It's just people having conversations.
I've got a kind of a love, maybe not hate, but dislike at times for Clubhouse. I love Clubhouse for what it does. It's a new medium. It's a new social media platform. It connects people. You can network. You can create, like after you're on a call, you could get 100 or 200 new followers on Instagram.
Right.
Right. But people, the people that are on, it can be a time suck.
Yeah, it's like any other social media. It's your intention.
Mm-hmm.
What is your purpose and what is your intention? What do you want to get out of it? So, if you can focus in on that and have a plan and a strategy for what you want to do on Clubhouse or with Clubhouse or the conversations that you're having, and the opposite is true. Like if you don't have that plan or strategy, it can become a total time hog. Where you're always experiencing FOMO. Or I'm going to miss this conversation. I'm going to miss that conversation.
That's what I was just going to say. Yep.
Yeah. So, and that's what it was for me. When I first started off on Clubhouse, it was this, which was, I think I joined in December, and it was such an interesting way I got into it, because I've been, you'd see posts on Facebook of people talking about Clubhouse, and there was even some controversy in the media about some, weird conversations that were happening. And so it was there, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. It wasn't until Anthony Lee posted on his Facebook, and he basically said, who's got an invite for me? I got to check out what this is, right? And that kind of struck me, because I'm a fan of Anthony Lee, because he tinkers and he experiments, and he's always kind of on the cusp of, he knows what's up and what's new, what's next. So when he said that, I was like, I think I need to check this out. And funny enough, the next day, McLean Warren, who's also a common friend of ours, posted that she had some extra invites. So I said, hey, hook me up. And so I got in there, and so this is the late December, early January. And at that time, there was just a small crew of Amazon sellers and experts and service providers like yourself and Paul Barron, Destiny Wishin, McLean, Barkus Patty. So I started having these conversations just because they were on Clubhouse. And the cool thing is that I've connected with these people online through messages and through Facebook. But Clubhouse brought a missing element, and it was more of a human connection. Just the power of the voice and that live interactive experience was so powerful and so motivating to me, because it gave me this connection to these people that were, it's still, over the internet, but it was a different level. It was kind of hard to explain. And then just these connections started happening, all of a sudden, and all these synergies and conversations. And it was a game changer for me in terms of connecting with people who are going through the same struggles as Amazon sellers. And the learning just kind of exploded, because it was live and interactive. So it was a pretty cool experience for me.
So let's go back. For those of you who are already on Clubhouse and you got this down, I just want to explain a few things to people, because it can be confusing. All right. So brand new to Clubhouse. how do you get onto Clubhouse? Can you do it on your desktop?
No. It started off as iPhone only. And so it was very hard to get into. You needed, you had to hunt down an invite. So it was a very exclusive club that way.
I bought mine.
You bought yours, so there you go.
Yeah,
right?
Paul Barron bought it for me, actually. And yeah, I still owe him.
So there's always this, the exclusive nature of it, which kind of, I think, helped them grow in the media and the attention towards Clubhouse. But it was hard to get an invite. And it was iPhone only. It just now recently in the past few weeks has expanded to Android. So now more and more people are getting on. So there was a lot of buzz. I think it may be kind of waning off a little bit, but I think those who know what it can do and in terms of having conversations with like-minded people and learning. So it's still growing. I think it's valued at over $1 billion. So it's a massive beast now. But you get an invite and you hop on, and like I said, there's any topic under the sun. It could be personal growth, it could be gardening, it could be health, it could be Amazon. There's a lot of hype rooms about make $1 million in 7 days.
There's a
lot of bullshit like that, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be, there has to be some discernment in terms of what you're listening to and who you're listening to. And why you're listening. Right? It all comes back down to your purpose.
Yeah, one of the things that kind of drove me crazy, still drives me crazy, is when I go into some rooms and I'm listening, and I don't go in as much as I used to. So I've pulled back because I find that a lot of these rooms have the exact same people with the exact same format. In some rooms, they are like, you can provide, let's say we're talking about a PPC strategy, unless it's an Amazon room, and we're talking about a PPC strategy, and then you hear somebody say, nope, that won't work. Well, yeah, that probably would work. I'm thinking, and there's somebody just saying, no, this is the strategy, and they're just tunnel vision, or this is the strategy that works for them. I love rooms that allow you to expand and hear what Brian Johnson is saying, and then Destiny, and then all these other people that are involved with PPC, and it's an open forum without calling out anybody saying that's stupid. Like I've turned off Clubhouse sometimes, got out of the room because I've heard people just go at it, and it's just,
there's no need.
There's no need there. And it depends on who's running the room too. So a good moderator will stop it, but also, who are the people talking about it? Usually I'll know somebody. I'll see somebody that, oh yeah, okay, I can check them out. Check them out on Facebook, or check the person out on YouTube, just to see, if they're credible. Because just because you get on Clubhouse doesn't make you an expert.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was the idea I had, because I was in a lot of rooms and a lot of bullshit flying and a lot of pump and hype rooms happening. And even in the Amazon rooms, there are a lot of Ask Me Anything rooms, which were great. They're a great place to learn and ask questions. But I had the idea of, okay, what if we put like all the thought leaders who are on Clubhouse in the Amazon space, if we could put them in one room and just jam and just talk and have an open discussion and have a debate. And sometimes it doesn't have to be about anything specific. It could be more philosophical. Like we've had discussions about brand building and all the different ways, build a brand, and what does a brand mean in the first place? So we have those types of conversations. And so I reached out to all these people that I saw on Clubhouse, like yourself, right? You're one of the first people that I met on Clubhouse, and Paul Barron and Clement and all these names, right? There's so many that I can't even list them off and remember off the top of my head. And I said, what if we just got together and did this room on Friday at 1:00, come out and let's just talk and have a discussion. And it's kind of grown from there. Like the first one we did was in January. More and more people started coming to listen. And I think a lot of the moderators and the speakers that we have, they enjoy it because it's a place for them, just to to relax and talk shop openly. And it doesn't matter, if you have a service or if you've got a competing company, we're not in competition. It's all about collaboration, right? And that the collaboration was the key thing for that room. And I think that's what people enjoy about it is to collaborate, to share knowledge, and provide value, right? So and I think a lot of people find value in that, including the moderators on the panel. It was great, because we had this little chat group that I formed, put everybody in one chat room on Facebook Messenger, just so we could plan these meetings and talk shop on the side as well. And it was, you hear 7 and 8 figure sellers, coming out of these meetings saying, "Wow, I learned something." So that's amazing. And I did it just out of selfish reasons. Like, I don't have a service. I'm not selling anything. I'm the new kid on the block, learning. I call myself a student of the game. I'm just a chronic student, just learning and learning. And my whole reason for putting that room together was these are the people that I identified as thought leaders, because the content that they were producing, the knowledge that they were sharing online, I said, okay, I want to learn more from these people. What's the best way? Let's put them together in a room and let them talk, right? And in that room, I talk less because, I have much less to offer than the panel does. And I want them to talk more, again, purely for selfish reasons, so I can learn and up my game with their knowledge.
I don't like the word, but Clubhouse in itself was a paradigm shift. Clubhouse,
game changer, paradigm shift. Yeah.
The domains, so .clubs, it changed the industry for .club domains.
Right.
Everybody went out and got a .club. Talk about a domain shift over there as well. Everybody was, .coms are definitely where to go, but people started buying try to get a .com now. It used to be fairly easy to get something that had your name, .club. Now it's tougher. Anyways, that changed. The whole social media game changed. Podcasting changed because you could, if you knew how to, record, the Clubhouse sessions. And we're doing that now. We've started for the last 3 weeks in my room that we're recording, and then we're publishing on to Lunch with Norm. But
it becomes an extension.
It's an extension, yeah. And it's also something that you did differently. You created a paradigm shift in what you were doing and how you were presenting Clubhouse, which is awesome, because a room, Clubhouse is evolving. It's going to ebb and flow for, the next year or two. We don't know where it's going to go, what the competition looks like, but we do know, and you mentioned it, I hate the Lamborghini, get rich quick. And then when you got that person up there, talking, drop the value, like a little nugget after about 5 minutes of talking and say, "Oh, my course is."
Exactly.
Hate it. Yeah. And so when you came out with this room, and there's a lot of Amazon rooms that are good as well, but this format of the room is so cool because you do have so many really cool people. I wish I could get on more, but it always seems like Friday at your slot.
With your show, yeah.
But anyway, it is different because it's a mastermind. And it's a cool mastermind with some pretty interesting people, that, hey, so a lot of them, I haven't been on the show. A ton of them have been on the show, but I really admire. So you can get a lot of nuggets. What is the name of your, because we really haven't touched on that. And what is the name of your mastermind?
It's called the Amazon Mastermind Collective. And I use that word collective, because it is a collection. It's a collection of minds, and it's a co-op, right? It doesn't belong to me. I may lead it, I may have started it, but it belongs to all of us. and it's for it's for us, and it's for the people. It's just something that we share with everyone. It's not there to make money. In my introductions, I say, we don't even do introductions in a room, because if you're in the Amazon space, who these people are. No introduction is necessary, right? And I say, in my introduction, we're not selling anything. We're not here. There's no funnel. There's no hook. We're just here to talk.
Yeah.
Right. And that's I think what the appeal is of that room. No different than yours, right? And no different than Paul's. Paul's got an awesome room. You've got an awesome room that you do.
Oh, Paul sucks.
But and that's the other thing, that happened with Clubhouse. Like you talk about paradigm shift and game changer. Anthony Lee loves that word, so I'm saying it just for him. But it's the connections I've made because of this. Like, I'm the new kid on the block in December. Nobody knew who I was, right? I'm just a guy, and I just had an idea to put people together and talk about stuff, related to Amazon, and all these friendships have, flourished. Like, people that I've connected with, like, include Paul. I went out to Miami last week to meet with a bunch of these Amazon sellers and experts, and just like a random thing. And I ended up rooming with Paul. Oh. And, oh, that's right. But
and he talked about feeding his chickens and his.
Of course he did.
Yeah, of course.
That's all he talks about is his chickens. And but the coolest thing about that was being in that environment with these like-minded people, all on the same wavelength and vibration, right? There was a camaraderie there, and these amazing friendships have developed. I met people that I had heard of, like Emma Tamir, and McLean Warren, met her in person. All these people that I've just had these online interactions with, but to meet them in person is a paradigm shift.
Yeah, and I'm going to go down a different rabbit hole here, just for a quick second.
Yeah.
So I am not willing to do what you did. Okay? Like, again, once you start to go to events, I'm a huge event guy. I love going to event to network. I think Clubhouse is number 2, and then, virtual like podcasts like this is, at least if you're on a video and you're answering some questions, it's a close third, I believe. But Clubhouse really does allow you to be that interactive if you're choosing and not wasting your time, like just being a suck.
Being intentional about it.
What you did is you got out there and you got to meet a bunch of people, which anybody listening to Clubhouse can do. So and that's what I love about the Amazon community. If you're interested in Amazon and you want to meet up with a group of people at an event, you can go. You went. You flew out of Toronto. You had to get a negative test. I don't know if you got vaccinated. You got down to the States. Now you had to come back instead of flying back to Toronto, because, guys, you have to pay $2,000 for a room, whether you've got
COVID
a negative
hotel
test, vaccinated. It's the COVID hotel, or if you can pay $600 to skip that. I'm just not willing to do that. And I don't want to go to Buffalo, which you did, to rent a car to come across the border.
Taxi. I took a taxi.
Oh my God.
I took a taxi
and we're
from
like
Buffalo.
4 hours. Like, I'm 5 hours. I'm 5 hours from Buffalo, I think. From up here. I think. But
it was
maybe
two,
4.
2 for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So it would be 4. So anyways, that was crazy. I just won't do that. I don't want to just go and say, okay, now Connie, come and pick me up in Buffalo. She won't do that. I don't even think you can get across the border that way. You can come across the other way.
You can come back.
And then you're in quarantine. Colin came up and he came across and he was in quarantine. They called him like 2-3 times a day. But
I get a call every day.
So I digress. All right, back to Clubhouse. So you have your room. There is some confusion about what is a club, what is a room. I'm starting a room, and I want to just explain to people that when you open up your app, you're going to be able to create a room. They want you to create a room. You can create, and probably the best thing to do when you do this is put the keyword like Amazon or Ecom in your title.
In the title.
Because the algorithm will pick it up. And in your description as well. So you'll be able to put a fairly lengthy description. And then you can invite people to either join you on stage, be a moderator. And I would listen to podcasts and see how moderators, because it is kind of a different format. If you are recording anybody, you have to make sure that they give you permission. And also, how do you treat people that just don't get to the point? I mean, moderators, and I do it myself, and I'm a really bad moderator. But, I'll let people go on, and then somebody else, like Paul, will come on and go, "Do you have a question?" And like I'm saying, that's rude.
Sometimes
Paul.
You need to be assertive, right?
But anyways, yes, that's true. But there is a skill set for a moderator. So now that you finish the room, what you'll notice is that if you put your Instagram or your email into your profile, you'll get followers. You'll get followers on Clubhouse. You'll get followers on Instagram. And depending on the room size, you can get quite a few. And if you are like, look at, I can see here like Simon's on, and there's a whole bunch of guys here that have tons of knowledge, right? If they went into a room and dropped some of their knowledge and they wanted, to build up their influencer or their Instagram, that's what I want to talk about, they would start to get tons of followers there. So it is a way, like with his brand, I'm just going to pick on Simon for a second. So he's got a great brand. People are not, okay, subject change. People from Amazon are not working properly. I don't know how to do this, but I've said it since probably a few months back. Brands are not utilizing Clubhouse properly. I haven't seen a lot of brands go on and say like you're in the kids niche or the pet niche and bringing people on and maybe even monetizing it through a pet sponsor or, just like a Facebook group. You could talk You could talk about value. Wilfred Lightheart. So, my old business partner, you have to get engaged before you get married. Value. And then if there's something to promote, go ahead. But people know that it's
people
value.
will find you, right?
People will find you.
Right? It's based on your thought leadership and the value and the knowledge that you're giving that is actually going to impact people and help them. Right. And then, that becomes the attraction. If you're doing it right, people will be attracted to you. You're not pushing anything, you're attracting. It's a very different type of marketing. And it's much more natural. And you're right. Brands aren't doing it. And I think more brands should be doing it. If they want to build a following of raving fans, because that's how you build that. It's building community. It's building community, and this is one spoke in the wheel of that process. And so I think a lot of brands could be doing more of that. And even in the Amazon space, I think a lot of Amazon services, could be running rooms and just like you said, providing value. And then people will trust you because you're providing something that they need and that's useful for them that they can put into practice. And if they need help with something, who are they gonna reach out to?
Right.
It's just a natural process.
Well,
you've built that relationship, and that's the thing with Clubhouse that's different from Facebook groups is that relationship building is much easier and natural with the power of the voice. Right? There's a soul, there's a connection, right? Obviously in person, it has a different feel to it, but Clubhouse is kind of that in between where you can start building that relationship to build that community. And I think that's the power of Clubhouse.
You become the authority. The authority equals trust.
Yep.
Trust equals sales. It's that simple.
100%.
It's just like any other form of marketing. Authority, trust, sales. So, this garden gnome, if he could speak, he could be an authority. But really, people, especially with brands, they can become the instant authority of, dog chews or bully sticks or dog's health. Elderly, you can be very specific. Oh, so let's go back to, you've got the room, okay? But you can get a club. So this is where it gets a little bit confusing. You could ask for a club, and then you register. So let's say that we wanted to talk about, we create a dog club, just for example. And then within that club, you can have multiple people with rooms. So there could be 10 different people that want to have a time slot or just, be associated with your room. So you could talk about, you could have one about or taking care of elderly pets, elderly dogs, how to play, what are the benefits of XYZ, playful tips, dog raw food recipes. And you can just build out this club to have an incredible, an incredible size. I'm involved with a group. Luckily, I got involved with this group through a friend, but it has now 500,000 members.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That is crazy.
But it's a club with entrepreneurs, and they have slots. And so that's where my slot comes in on Thursdays. It's tied into this group, Startup Club. So anyways, it's so powerful that you can do something like this. So the other part to this, I'm kind of curious. Now that you have a room, and let's say that you don't, we're not going to be talking about your mastermind. I don't want to think that you're monetizing it. But what are some ways that an Amazon seller could possibly monetize a room?
That's a very interesting question. Well, I think it goes back to the brand conversation, and we've had these conversations a lot in your room is building a brand. And it's the missing link for a lot of Amazon sellers who get caught up in the algorithm, right? It's all about the algorithm. And that's why we name this Beyond the Algorithm, because, branding is about relationship, right? And so if for Amazon sellers who are representing a brand, it's about building that community. So, I don't know if you can directly monetize it, but it's kind of there on the back end, right? By building that community and providing that value. And for my mastermind club, there's no monetization happening.
Right.
There's no service. It's just people coming together to talk. So that's a different thing. But I think there's opportunity there for Amazon sellers, for brand owners, for service providers to monetize it, but not necessarily directly. Although now you can. So now Clubhouse does have this feature,
tips.
Right? That people can tip you, right? So that exists. I actually don't even have access to that. I don't know how Clubhouse determines who gets what.
It's an algorithm.
But I guess you have to. Yeah, it's an algorithm, right? It's all about the algorithm. So yeah, I encourage people to go beyond the algorithm, and you're always, especially as Amazon sellers, it's important. Don't get me wrong, it's vitally important to understand how the algorithm works and to reverse engineer it, because that's how you get onto page one, and that's where all the sales are. So it's vitally important, but don't forget about all the other stuff beyond the algorithm, especially when you're thinking about Amazon. Customer service, brand building, masterminds, learning. It's that relationships, building community. These are all things that are not part of the algorithm, but are so vital.
Right.
And I think a lot of people kind of forget about it, or don't put enough thought into it. And I think they should, because it will explode your business in ways you can't even imagine.
Well, I am going to get on to and touch on the next phase of this conversation, which is going to be relationships. But before I do this, I completely forgot. We do have a giveaway today, and Tim Jordan's on holidays, so he'll probably be a little ticked, but I'm giving away a month of the Centurion League. If you want to get 1 month, it's $199 value, free. No, you're not going to get targeted afterwards. It's just a free month. You're going to have access to all of our training and all the calls. We have 8 calls during the month. And if you want to join the call, ask as many questions, get into Facebook, get whatever you can out of it and leave, perfect. then we did our job. But anyways, if you're looking for that, it's just hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. Okay, so if you do want to have a second entry, just tag 2 people. Okay, let's get back to relationships. So one of the things that that you mentioned, you touched on, was relationship building throughout Clubhouse. That's major.
Major.
So you can, and you can be as interactive with the guest as possible. You can tell them to DM you. It's important that you put, like, this is where, if you look at my profile, it's very detailed. Some people say just keep it short, but I want that algorithm to pick it up wherever it can be. I want them to pick up my room. And I also want contact, just like a bloody press release. If you don't put your contact information in, you won't have those experiences. So if you're going back to, if you're trying not to do any type of pitching and you have a pet product or baby products or whatever it is, and you've got an incredible club or room, you become that authority. So people are going to come up on stage. You can ask them if they have questions. I don't know the answer. Just DM me and I'll find that for you. Or come across authentic, like, that you're not just some guy trying to grab money. The other thing, and I don't know if you've ever done this, but there are some experts. I know there's tons of experts in your room, but hey, if you help us with promoting, like, just write a guest blog. Write a guest blog and put it on, like, our site, Lunch with Norm or Bully Sticks or whatever, Wildlife Pets. If you have 500 people listening to you about pets, you can get influencers definitely through that. You can get them writing about your room. I don't know if you've ever, I don't know, like, I know Paul, if you go to amz.club, he puts every one of his podcasts up there.
Yeah.
And all the transcriptions, and it's completely searchable. So it's a freebie. Just go there. And that's what we're going to be doing with ours. We just have to get that done.
Yeah, that's the way you should be doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so easy. So let's say you want to learn about keyword research, or you want to learn about, healthy tips for elderly dogs. You just type it in, boom, it's there, and you can just listen. You don't have to, listen double speed on YouTube or, on your audio recorder or app. Okay. Do you have anything else to say about relationships? I know you do.
Well, it's just, like I said, the personal aspect of it, especially during COVID, we're all cooped up, especially here in as in Toronto and Ontario with these constant lockdowns, right? We're human. We need these connections and to build relationships. And Clubhouse kind of opened that door for me. And I had no idea what I was doing, right? I just had an idea. Let's talk, and it's exploded into this cool little room that we have every other Friday just to talk. But it was the relationships out of that, and the people I've met who can help me, like Vanessa Hong, was somebody I met on Clubhouse in this room called the Blank Room, which is actually, it's a pretty cool room because it's blank. There's no title. It's called the Blank Room, and it's Amazon sellers who just kind of hang out sometimes, like when they're bored or if they're going for a walk, when they're in lockdown, they would hang out in this room as a form of connection, and all these awesome conversations kind of happen. Sometimes it's just random stuff that we're talking about, and sometimes it's biz, sometimes it's life, all these conversations. And I met Vanessa, who was talking about flat files. And I learned so much from her just in these random conversations. And it was clear to me that she knows her shit. She knows what she's doing. And I had taken on this new brand partnership and was taking over the brand registry, but I couldn't get the ASINs mapped to the brand, right? No matter how much I tried with seller support. So I reached out to Vanessa, and she did it in a week.
Yeah.
Right. So by making these connections, you're finding people that not only can you have these high level discussions with, but they can help you. right? And you know who to reach out to because you've seen the value that they've given on Clubhouse, and you have an idea of their knowledge base, and you know that they're experts. So it was natural just, to reach out to Vanessa. It actually happened on Clubhouse. She was in a room, in the blank room. I said, Vanessa, I need this. She sent me her email, bada bing, bada boom. My problem was solved, right?
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of it.
I've seen that when we were talking on my room. There's been people that I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, this guy's in the room. Or they start talking and, oh yeah, I represent, this happened last week. I represent Grant Cardone in India, all of his media and blah, 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 blah. Okay, nice contact. Then another guy came on and he had a very high level podcast. Again, you just reach out and it's no problem. People, it's like LinkedIn. For the most part, you can reach out to somebody on LinkedIn and they'll respond. And I mean, I've made more connections on LinkedIn and Clubhouse, and really have started to form some really good relationships where I can't wait to go and break bread with them.
Yes, exactly.
And like you did, you just did.
Yeah.
You went to Miami, and these are all people you did not know in January.
100%. They didn't know me, right? Like I said, I was a nobody. I'm just a seller learning, and now I roomed with Paul. Like we vibe. Like I call him. He's a good friend of mine now, right? Just from Clubhouse. That's crazy. That it's crazy, right? How these relationships develop, and I can call him my friend. And if I need something, if I need help for something, I can reach out to Anthony Lee. I can reach out to Barkus Patty. I can reach out to Paul Barron. I could reach out to you, right? If I need help. That's the power of relationship. And this started 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Like, just think of all the connections that you've made and the doors that have opened and the possibilities that now exist because of these conversations that you're having on Clubhouse and other social media, right? So if there's intent behind what you're trying to do, if Simon Sinek has that awesome book, the power of why, and start with why. If you have that purpose and goal, these doors will open up.
You can definitely build a following on Clubhouse. There are definitely, like, if you start following people or contributing, you'll start getting followers and start building.
The contribution. Start with the contribution.
Yep. You just have to give to get. That's what I always say. And one of the most powerful things that you can do is, if you hear somebody on Clubhouse, if you're on the panel, or if somebody comes up and asks an interesting question or has an interesting comment, click on their picture and follow them. And, you'll start and reach out to them if you thought it was that interesting. So this could be a form of building an influencer network as well.
Absolutely.
So anyway, just wanted to, before we get into the questions, just let everybody know I forgot. But we have a free month of the Centurion Group with everything. Like, you'll have access to everything. If you'd like, it's Wheel of Kelsey, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, and you'll get an extra entry. All right. So Kelsey, do we have any questions?
Yes, we have a couple questions.
Yep.
That we can jump into. So the first one I want to kind of go to is from Dr. Cause, if I can find. All right, here it is. Hey, Rana, can you give us your 3 favorite rooms for Amazon Ecom that you derive most value from and would recommend for Amazon sellers?
Oh, that's an awesome question, right? So that's easy. I pitch these rooms in our room all the time. So Paul Barron, he's a guy. He does some stuff. Yeah, he does some stuff. But he runs a bi-weekly Amazon room. It's an Ask Me Anything room, and at least it has been every other Wednesday. He's actually doing one today, I think, at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And now he's kind of focused. He's doing more themes instead of Ask Me Anythings. So now he's doing more themes. And I think today he's doing influencer marketing for Amazon sellers. That's happening today. But he runs an awesome room, every other Wednesday. Some guy named Norm Farrar. I think some people may have heard
Sounds
of him.
a little scammy to me.
Yeah, he's a little sketchy, but he runs a room every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, correct?
That's right.
Yeah, which is an awesome room to participate in myself, because I learned so much out of that room. Kevin King and Bradley Sutton, I think everybody knows them. They run the Freedom Ticket Room every other Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time, which is an awesome room. Again, you get on stage. If you have a problem, you're on stage with Kevin King, right? Like you're talking to Kevin King and asking him a question about Amazon. Like that's the beauty of it, right? You get your answer, your questions answered. It could be a little thing or it could be a big thing, and you've got a panel of experts to provide you help, right? So that's a great room that happens. And then one of my favorites is Susan McDowell and Joy Soilev. They run a room every single day on Amazon at noon Eastern time. Every single day, it's an Ask Me Anything. They're two women that I've come to know and respect because of their knowledge and the value that they're giving to people. So people come to that room to ask very specific questions about their Amazon problems and get them answered. So that's a great room that happens every single day at noon. And I participate in that sometimes. Like if I have an issue, I'll write it down. And I know it's like clockwork, 12 o'clock, Susan and Joe open up this room and I'm in there. If I have a question, they'll help me out, right? So it doesn't matter what level of expert you are in the Amazon world, there's something you don't know, or there's some problem that somebody else could help you with. So that's the power of these Clubhouse rooms in terms of growing your own business and your own knowledge. So those are awesome rooms that I personally love.
I'd also like to add, there is a room Friday at 2:00 called the Serial Entrepreneur Room. And that's run by Colin Campbell, Jeff Sass, and Rachel. What's Rachel's last name? I'm sorry, Rachel. But Colin Campbell and Jeff Sass run this room, and it's incredible. They bring in some highly, highly successful entrepreneurs, and they just drill them. So
and that's awesome because it's expanded. It's not just Amazon. It's Ecom. It's business in general, right? That's the beauty of those rooms, which I've participated in with Colin. And there's so much knowledge that's being dished in those types of rooms. And I can't forget, of course, the Mastermind that happens every other Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So this Friday will be our next session. For the Mastermind Collective on Clubhouse.
And that's the no pitch mastermind.
No pitch, right? People just come to talk. It doesn't matter where you come from, what service you are. We're there to collaborate and have these awesome discussions.
Great. Okay, Kels. Next
from Simon. How do you think Clubhouse will monetize itself?
Great question. I don't know. It's I don't know if they're making something off of the tips. I don't know. That's beyond kind of my sphere and my relationship with Clubhouse. I don't know if you've got any insight on that, Norm.
What I think the trend will be is started to get sponsored rooms.
Yes, sponsored rooms and maybe advertising.
That'll be one area. Clubhouse might come out with some advertising later on. I think they probably will. But the action that happens off of Clubhouse, so gaining, again, it could be Facebook or whatever group, but driving people over there. Like Paul has his AMAAMZ.club room, which provides tons of information. Well, what's going to happen after that? Oh, but here's the link to his company. So I think that's some areas where people can go here, and if they like what they're hearing, they're going to follow up because he's an influencer. So I think those are some areas. And then there's the tip jar. What I think people aren't doing enough of, I was thinking about this because I knew we were going to get on this call today, but can you, just like with Amazon Posts and Amazon Live, Is it worth throwing a quick Facebook ad up and driving people over to your Clubhouse room? Get them to follow you. Get them to get Amazon sellers, like target Amazon sellers or Ecom sellers, and get them over to the room. I don't know if anybody's doing that right now. I was thinking about how could you do that to bring more people, more entrepreneurs into the room, and with that, it's a better group.
100%. I think the key is to test, right? Because Clubhouse is so new. It's so new, and there's a lot of people, doing amazing things on Clubhouse that I don't even know about, right? Because I'm in my lane, in my little, in my little neck of the woods on Clubhouse, but it's so vast, and I think the opportunities are so great, and I think people should start tinkering and start testing, just like any other platform. To figure out, different ways of generating traffic and engagement, right? It's all about the engagement. So whether it's through ads or, we always talk about off Amazon marketing, off Clubhouse marketing to Clubhouse, like there's so much that can be done. And I think people are going to start to test it and see what kind of value it brings to their own business in terms of monetization.
Before we get to the next question, well, this is a question, but what mistakes are you seeing people make, if any?
Well, I think the biggest mistake, especially for new people on Clubhouse, is just managing their time and getting so overwhelmed with all the different rooms and the FOMO, and just spending too much time on Clubhouse and not focusing on things that really matter and not having that purpose and intention behind it. Because if you don't, you can get sucked in, and a day is gone. It's kind of like being on YouTube in the black hole of YouTube videos, right? So I think a lot of people can get sucked into that. I think a lot of people go on Clubhouse without a purpose of what they want to get out of it. And they'll open up rooms and start talking. They don't have a profile, like you said, that's got links to them on how to contact them. Like this is just business marketing 101 that I think a lot of people aren't taking advantage of.
Right.
But like any other social media, if you've got a plan and a strategy, if you've got a goal, an end game, work it backwards and make it fit.
Great. All right, Kels, next.
Okay. We are past the 1 hour mark. So
do you have to take off, Rana?
No, I'm cool. I'm cool.
Okay,
for now.
let's just take a few more questions and then.
Okay, great. Okay, so from Jessica Rabbit, aka Rosalind, Rana, Norm, where do you see yourselves in 6 months with Clubhouse?
Good question.
I'll let you answer it, and then I'll say, yeah, that's what I was going to do.
Well, see, I think my approach is a little bit different because, I don't have a service. I'm not selling anything. I'm literally doing this for fun and for my learning and for my enjoyment of listening to these thought leaders, have these deep discussions, philosophical, operational, business, that was the reason I created the Mastermind, the Amazon Mastermind Club. That was the intent behind it. So, I'm not looking to monetize it, which may be stupid, but that's another story. But that's not my intention, and that's not why I created it. And so I want to keep that vibe going, just so I can learn. Like I said, I'm a student of the game, and so I want to put myself in the company of these thought leaders and experts, because I'm a knowledge addict, a knowledge junkie. So the more, I just see myself continuing to run these rooms and attracting, more people as more Amazon sellers and experts get onto Clubhouse. I'd love to get Tim on there. And there's so many other people that haven't been on Amazon because they didn't have an iPhone. They've been on Android. And so, let's get them out and just jamming and having fun. So that's my intent for Clubhouse. And I think other people should have a different intent based on a different end game, a different purpose, right? To expand their business, right? Like, providing value and content and engagement, where then people will circle back to buy your service.
Right. And by the way, I will get you Tim's information right after this call. And he's on holidays today, so that's why I can give away the Centurion thing. But anyways, I will get you hooked up with that. Now, for me, I'm looking at it a little bit differently. So I have a variety of different companies. We don't have a presence with our sourcing company. So how could you how could you create a club that is about China, is about India, it's about other forms of sourcing, it might be about logistics, supply chain management. Then we have, like, my partner, like I'm partners with Paul, that whole influencer side, and building out the influencer room or club. I'm all about the club. I think the room is nice, but if you can dominate with a club and bring in experts, then it's not on you. And if you're in a pet brand and you can bring in 10 different pet experts and Caesar, talk about dog training, it will help spread the word. A room is great. And I think that's one way of getting the information out there. But if you've got a really great room, maybe like the Mastermind up here, and then break it down into different areas, PPC, this, that, the other.
Right.
I can see that's where 6 months from now, we'll be doing a lot more. Spreading off of Clubhouse, like making your own sites that you can drive either traffic to and then drive it over to Clubhouse. Engaging more with users. I think this is different. I think being able to engage, getting people to post content for you, getting people to become influencers of a group, that's a different way of marketing. There's lots of different angles that, again, it's so new. Again, I'm lucky because of the group that I'm teamed up with. They can experiment, and hopefully I can take part in those experiments. So split testing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's the way to do it, is to test it, to try different things and see what sticks and see what people kind of gravitate towards, and what they enjoy what they engage with.
Stop talking about him. His head will be big. Okay. Like, yeah, I know. He'll come on and he'll want to talk about feeding his chickens. But anyway,
we got to get him up to Toronto.
Yeah. He won't come. Hey, Paul. All right. One of the other things that I think, one of the other people that I think would be awesome to follow is a guy named Gary Henderson. He is huge, and he's big on monetization. I think Paul knows him, but I want to reach out to him. And I've heard him talk on Serial Entrepreneur and a couple of the other rooms. Really interesting on what he is doing. He's got a gazillion followers. I've never talked to him, but I've heard what he's been having to say. If you guys want to hear some really interesting ways to monetize, listen to Gary. Anyways, I'll try to get him on one of these days.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Okay, next question.
Okay, so if we're going too late, just let me know and we can start to wrap things up. But from Manny, when it becomes a play-to-play, I believe all kind of speakers start raising and presenting themselves as gurus, and then we are overwhelmed with the rooms. This will drag the quality down, or not.
Oh, this is such a good... Oh, Manny, thank you for asking this question. I always like to tell people when they're listening, like especially if they're starting out, a lot of times when you're an experienced seller, you kind of find this out for yourself, but follow one or two people, listen to what they have to say, listen to what they say on YouTube, listen if they have a course, maybe you want to, if you thought that your personality fit in, if you like what they're saying, if it worked for you, it's not going to work all the time, but if the strategies are working, follow those people. if you try to follow every Tom, Dick, and Harry, it's very and
too
shiny
much.
objects. It's too much. They're all like, look, Paul and I talk about this all the time. There's all sorts of different strategies that work, and they're all there. But it really just it fogs the vision of what, where to go. Oh, okay, this person said this. This person said this. These 5 people said this. And by the time you try one of them, you're confused. Try one, because I know if I talk to Anthony Lee, or if I talk to Paul, or if I talk to you, or if I talk to whoever, Kevin, you're going to give me different answers. I can take the same strategy.
That's okay, though.
It's okay.
And that's the beauty, because it's an art and a science, right? There's the whole art aspect of it, of different approaches, but you can only kind of integrate if you hear these conversations, and if you get these different views, which is great, right? But it's all about that discernment, and that integration of that knowledge to create something else that it could lead to a different path. But the question, was about gurus, and we actually had that as a topic in the mastermind that we ran a couple weeks ago. Is what is a guru? Who is a guru? Why are they gurus? And there's negative connotation of gurus versus experts or thought leaders, right? So that was a really cool conversation that we had. But I think it all comes down to especially when you're consuming content, is the discernment of who's speaking, what they're talking about. Because if you go check out the speaker's background and the content that they have on YouTube, how much information are they giving you? Right? Are they giving you real advice and real actionable advice that you can use free? Right? Instead of, a tidbit here and a tidbit here. If you want more, join my course, or, buy my whatever. Right? So, but it's all about that discernment, and not everybody's a guru. They're experts and thought leaders. You want the thought leader. You don't want the thought leader is the guy or woman who's giving you the true knowledge, right? With not asking for anything in return. But the gurus are out there pitching a lifestyle, the Lambos on the whole lifestyle aspect. That's what they're pitching, right? So there's got to be discernment, and that's what I did. Being in the Facebook groups, you have to discern who you want. Who do you think you should be consuming content from, and where are these people coming from, and what value are they providing you? So if as long as you have that discernment switch on, it becomes easier, and you're getting content that you can actually use and apply in your business.
I just want to talk about this for a second. So I was at I don't know which one it was. It was an ASM event, right? And I won't say the name of the group, but anyways, the event that was going on pre-ASM event, they had their own event going on at the same time. So I went, I attended, and it was around the time that people were, it wasn't as easy. It started to change. You couldn't put $2,500 into inventory and turn that and churn it and make a ton of money. You'd have to start to investing more and more and more and more. So a guy came up on stage and he said, "Hey, look, I know this is all on video, okay? So I can't make this up. I know I told you that it would take 3 months to be profitable. I didn't lie. But to be profitable where you're not funding your inventory could take 6 to 9 months. I have a guest speaker who will, if you're finding it hard to become a consultant, now you can become a consultant with his course." So this whole group I was around, the most anybody was selling was $5,000 a month. There was a whole group of them. And after this guy got off talking about his course, every single one signed up as a consultant. And not only that, I talk about this where I was working with this Australian company, and they had asked me to work with their product. And then there was other people that were a lot cheaper than what my service was. But she said, look, I'm getting their contracts and everyone has the same spelling mistake. You know why? And I'm sitting here going, oh my gosh. So maybe it was, the templates that they got, but now they flood the market just like an Amazon perceived value, right? So you have everybody who wants to be a bottom dweller that, okay, you're going from here to here. What are you paying for knowledge? Here's a bunch of failed sellers that went out there, but how do you know that those are the people you should be listening to? Just like this garden gnome, you could be getting the same advice. And that's what I look at. When I look at people that are really dropping knowledge, who are they? Go and do your research. Have they ever sold on Amazon? What type of sales did they have on Amazon? What businesses do they have? And, then you can take it from there.
Do they talk about their failures?
Right.
Right?
And here's a guy who's lost his home, has lost his cars. You talk about failures. I've talked about that before, but you know what? Any successful entrepreneur has had failures.
100%, right? And but are people talking about it? Are people describing the challenges that they face? And because it's not easy. It's not easy, right? And that's the fake shit that's out there is you become a millionaire, selling on Amazon. Just follow my system. It doesn't work that way.
I see it all the time.
Right.
So I think I can't really read it that well, but Paul, even though it's Paul, I think he came up with a good idea or a good suggestion. What does it say, Kels?
It says, I love that differentiation between pitching a lifestyle versus teaching and sharing because you care and want to help.
Yep. Good one, Paul. See, I did compliment you. All right. So maybe one more question and then we'll call it for the day.
Cool.
Okay, so one more question. Let me see. Just got to sort through and see if there's one that sticks out. Okay, this is just more of a basic one to help set up. But if you want to start a room, do you assemble your other moderators first? What's the sequence to establishing and opening a room?
Yeah, so anybody can open a room, right? And that's how you start is by opening a room. But I think there's power in a collective, right? So by building out your moderating panel, just kind of like I did by assembling the experts in the field, and you get much more power and traction that way because all of them have their own followings, right? So it becomes this synergy just reading.
That's why I liked his comment.
He's annoying. He keeps interrupting us.
I know. Jeez, what a pest.
But so start off by opening your own rooms. Like I've got a naturopathic friend, Dr. Arnell, who I encouraged him, start speaking about health topics and people will come. And as people come, you can start connecting with other experts and then do these joint rooms together because there's power in that collaboration. And so the key thing is just to start, like with anything else, just start, open up a room. Make sure your title's in there, make sure your contact is in there, and start talking about something that you're passionate about, that you have expertise in, that people can use and they'll gravitate towards that. So start with your own rooms, build out a club, collaborate with other modders, and that's how you're going to grow your following. So that's for Jessica.
Yeah. So, and as for the moderator, I'm still getting used to it. And by having the support of other people, like Paul or Melissa Simonson will come in sometimes.
Melissa's awesome.
Yeah. And I'll just say, hey, can you, I'll text him, hey, I need help. And then he'll reset the room and, just the lingo. And I'm learning, but anybody can do that. And also don't think you're going to get 1 million people. Maybe you do.
Right.
But
you start small.
You might have 1 or 2 people.
Yeah. That's how you build a tribe.
Yep. When we started this podcast, we had a total of 9 people.
There you go.
So, yep. But, Danny McMillan just said, just do it. Just keep doing it. Be consistent.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Clubhouse.
So Danny, it's interesting. The first Clubhouse room I did, I was so nervous, right? The first room I did with the Mastermind, so nervous, didn't know what I was doing. There was dead air, and I had invited Danny on, and Danny popped into the room, and he gave me tips, like right there live on air, right? He gave me tips on how to keep the room going and keep the conversation going, because he's an expert like you.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
you know,
I'm not an expert. He is.
But you know, this he does, and for him to be in the room with me and give me coaching live, right? He said, if you don't have questions, call people out, ask them. It was spot on and helped me so much. So thank you, Danny. But that's the power of Clubhouse.
Yeah.
I
saw something. I'll just address this before we end up the room for the day. But Simon was talking about Clubhouse and how they're going to hold their ground with the other social media platforms now that they're coming out with it. Yeah. One of the things about being the leading provider or the innovator is everybody's on your coattails, right? So yeah. I with the size of Clubhouse and where they're going, I think they're going to be on the cutting edge. If people or Facebook or whoever are going to be bringing out their own rooms, now they've got to take that audience from Facebook and convert them over to their audience. Why would, that be better? Why would I leave, these people stranded over on Clubhouse when I have a solid room, and take a chance over at Twitter or Facebook?
Yeah. First to market matters.
First to market matters. And they're always going to be, they have to be. Just like when you do a website or any type of service, you launch beta, you go to your next version. While you're launching version 1, you're into version 2. So I think there's lots to come from Clubhouse. And if they don't keep up to it, they'll lose their market share. So I don't have any problems with that. So
it's funny. I'm just going to rewind for a second. You mentioned Melissa Simonson. Yeah. So I met her in Miami, right? As a Clubhouse. And it was such an awesome experience, like her and all these other people, but and just listening to her talk about you, right? The respect that she has for you and the encouragement that she's received from you, and how she's integrated that and changing the way she's doing things based on your words and your encouragement. Like it was so powerful to her, right? But because of Clubhouse, I was there listening to her talk about you. So that
$20 went a long way.
It's mind blowing, right? That's what still blows me away. And like the gratitude in my heart for meeting these people from Clubhouse, meeting them in person, having these human connections. It's beyond the algorithm. Right. That's the beauty of it is these souls that you're meeting on this journey, and helping each other, that we're all in the same, frequency and the wavelengths. We have the same challenges. But meeting these people in person was a game changer. It was a paradigm shift for me.
Yeah. And breaking bread. You can't beat it.
Yeah. And now I'm here on lunch with Norm. Like that just blows my mind. Like, how did this happen? Where am I?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Right. Oh gosh.
So it's cool. Like, to have this, to be sitting here, having this conversation, it means a lot to me. And I think it's awesome.
Well, you're such an awesome guy. So one more time, how do people get a hold of you or hold of how do they get to listen to the Clubhouse room?
Sure. So our Mastermind Collective runs every other Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So this Friday is going to be your next session. And I think Kelsey put in the link. The link is down here somewhere. So if you need an invite to Clubhouse, you can get it. There's the link right there. You can get an invite there to get into Clubhouse, and you can join the club. And once you join the Mastermind Club, you get notified anytime the next room is going to be on. And then join us every Friday, 1 p.m., every other Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, just for time, and maybe learn something.
Fantastic. And I saw Cindy Norton's comment. Thank you, Cindy. Oh, she's too nice. Okay, so it's time Man, almost an hour and a half. My gosh. I thought this was going to be a shorter podcast, but it's time for the Wheel of
Time
Kelsey.
flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, Tempest Fugit.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right, it's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
So
This is-
Cindy, don't tell Tim about this yet. Cindy's in our
Okay.
group.
and we just had one more entry,
Okay.
so I'll just add that in now. I think might have misspelled that. Okay.
Talk about your day.
And yeah, so this is for the 1 month free of Centurion League, Tim and Norm's 1 month group mentoring. So here we go. So I'll shuffle the names.
Okay.
In 3, 2, 1.
I should have put my name on that list.
There you go.
Okay, Andres or Andre.
Woo!
You know, oh, okay. I was going to say that's not Andrea from the group who's already in, but no, that's not. It's a different person. So perfect.
Okay. So we have I think this might be a first time winner. So Andres, if you can just please email me at k@lunchwithnorm.com. I will connect you with the link and get everything sorted out. But yes.
And
thank you,
Rana, we'll
everyone.
get you in as a speaker to our Centurion group too, to get them to better understand Clubhouse. So
Cool. That'd be
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. All right. So I think that's it for today. Rana, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
We are neighbors. My gosh, we got to get together.
I know. So, yeah, for sure. We got to with Clubhouse, I got to meet Leo Scovio, who was also Toronto, which I didn't know.
Hey.
I didn't know you were in Toronto either. And I
Yeah.
actually went out for sushi with him in between lockdown periods, right? So that was a great experience. So definitely would love to have you and Kelsey over for a barbecue at my place.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be
This summer,
great.
definitely would love to have you guys.
All right, everybody. So thank you once again, Rana. Hopefully you got a lot out of this about Clubhouse and how you set it up, how you can monetize. Things are changing all the time. But at the end of the day, get on Clubhouse and try it out, listen, and it's a great learning platform. So Kelsey, what do you got to say before we end this off?
All right. So thank you everyone for watching. Our podcast went a little late, but that's okay. So smash those like buttons if you haven't already. Also, our YouTube channel is up if you're looking for any full episodes or short highlights. That's just Norm and Farrar, or you can search Lunch with Norm. As well as we have our Facebook group. That's where all the good stuff happens. That's the Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA, and eCommerce Collective. Also, our YouTube channel, we're almost at 1,000 subscribers, which is pretty exciting. So if you haven't yet, if you could just give it a little subscribe and ring that bell, as well as our Patreon. I don't want to talk about this too much, but just our Patreon is happening. That's a monthly subscription service. AMAs, hot seats, small group lessons, freebies, all that good stuff is happening over there with different tiers. But yeah, I think that's about it on my side. And thank you everyone for listening. It's been awesome. It's great to see all the different people from around the world joining us every week. And yeah, we're just over a year now, so it's crazy to see the growth. So anyone out there starting a podcast, just do it, just start it, and yeah, it'll grow if the content is there.
So on Friday, we have a guest.
I'm not sure if I'm frozen.
What's that?
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure if it's my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is kind of coming in and out, but
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Typical.
I'm done.
Spend some money and get some proper Wi-Fi. All right. So on Friday, we're going to be joined by Maya Hewley, and we're going to be talking about TikTok. Now, we did have Mayan Gordon on who talked about TikTok, so don't get them confused. Mayan is absolutely awesome, but so is Maya, and we're going to be talking about doing business and everything TikTok. One more time, I got to get used to this, but I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Global Wired Advisors, and they are a leading digital investment bank focused on optimizing their business sales process. Thank you for supporting us, Chris and the guys over at Global Wired Advisors. All right, we're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. We're not usually an hour and a half. The last couple episodes we've done that. We usually try to keep it to an hour. And look, guys, we love it. Kelsey just mentioned it. We love you having in the community. If you haven't joined, please do so. We couldn't do this without you. And you guys are awesome. Have a great day.
Entrepreneur.